Today on Land Beat, we're going to walk through the timber, we're going to discuss kill and keep trees, and how we're managing this to improve habitat for wildlife. Now where I'm standing, this whole unit has a more westerly aspect, but I'm standing in a very strong south-facing slope here. And like I said in the opener, this is the Ozark Mountains, so there's a lot of rocks on the ground here, but this is a historic woodland. So a lot more sunlight hitting the forest floor than your typical closed canopy forest. Therefore, we have a lot more stuff growing that's benefiting wildlife. And this one's gone unmanaged for years and years. So we've gone through a woodland restoration process where we're thinning out the trees to get more sunlight to the forest floor, so we have more herbaceous plants that are growing and providing benefit to species, game species, non-game species, insects, all kinds of things. And so when I stand right here, this is historic post-oak woodland in this specific spot. The overstory oaks are post-oak, and there's a few white oaks around, but in this spot, it's roughly a 30-yard circle. And in this spot, pre-recording, we counted 11 flowering dogwood stems, 7 hickory stems, and 6 oak stems. Nothing else. There's one little understory sprout that's sassafras, but for the most part, we're looking at a south-facing slope dominated by flowering dogwood, specifically in the mid-story, because flowering dogwood's not an overstory tree. So the mid-story is dominated by flowering dogwood. I can confidently tell you that all of those have been killed through hack and squirt technique. We've left flowering dogwood around the unit, but we're setting it back just in this 30-acre unit. Imagine that over a 91-acre area, and you can see that's a lot of flowering dogwoods versus oak and hickory. Now, there is 2 main post oaks here, about 25 yards apart, and there is a black oak 10 yards down from the post oak crop tree, and then there's a white oak in between the two, which is not a great looking white oak, but it's the only one in this little 30-yard circle. We left, as we walk through here, we left a good straight hickory right here. We killed some flowering dogwoods here, killed this clump of flowering dogwoods. We're killing the cedar with fire. We killed this hickory because we have another hickory just right here. And as we move up the slope, we're getting closer and closer to the post oak. We killed the flowering dogwoods just right here. We killed this hickory. We also killed this black oak, which you may say, that's not a bad looking black oak. But he's already in under the crown of this post oak. So he's already trying to grow up and compete with our big post oak here. And it's a black oak on a south-facing slope in the Ozark Mountains that's living on a landscape where 2 brothers, myself being one of them, love using prescribed fire. He's probably not going to make it even if we left him alone. He'd likely deal with some fire damage. So we went ahead and killed it so we could get more sunlight. We got another flowering dogwood right here, big one. You can see the hack mark right there, and there's another one on the backside, I'm sure, and it is dead as well. There's no buds forming. You can see last year's leaves already shriveled up on the trees. That flowering dogwood's dead. This hickory's dead. So ultimately, we left a big space with our post oaks and nothing else in between, minus 1 hickory down the slope. Out of all of those stems in a 30-yard circle, we killed everything but 3 stems, 2 post oaks and 1 hickory. And that doesn't mean we have a bias against black oaks, because we did leave some black oaks, but they were ones more protected in ravines or little coulees or next to rocks. We saved a lot of white oaks, but we didn't save this one white oak because he's living in between the 2 post oaks. And so ultimately that gives you an idea of just how much needed to be removed to restore this woodland. because when you hit back here and you look up into the sky and you add 30 to 40% more canopy because of leaves growing, you would realize this is a closed canopy system, and we killed it and are promoting our post oak crop trees. But as we keep going out of the unit, you can see here's a cedar tree that we hacked down with a hatchet. This tree's dead. These trees are all dead, but this little white oak got saved. This is actually a chinkapin oak, native to this region. You find it a lot around here. Sassafras dead, sassafras dead, hickory dead. Step up here, we've got an oak that we saved. There's a decent gap between the last white oak we saved and this one. So we left this one. So just imagine we knock all these down and we leave the white oak. That one's saved. We've got a mulberry, which I love red mulberry, but on a south-facing slope, upland hardwoods, it doesn't belong here like oak species would. So we went ahead and killed this because it's directly correlating with a white oak just 5 steps away. And that's a good reminder for anyone doing TSI, of just because there's a species that you love, like myself with red mulberry, doesn't mean it belongs on this rocky, south-facing oak woodland. And so I would love to see this tree down in the valley or on an east-facing slope or a north-facing slope, but not on this one. And so it has to go. Keep walking. You know, you can see when we step up here, we got a big post oak here, we got a white oak here, we've got a walnut there that's dead, another post oak there, a lot of stuff missing in between, like you saw with the flowering dogwood over there, because we had these big trees already canoping out. So we killed the walnut, which has a nasty cat face in it. I'll show it because there's people who's like, you killed the walnut? You can see a cat face right here that, you know, major fire damage right there over the years, or who knows what caused it, but likely prescribed fire. This was an area that was burned historically long before I ever bought this farm. So there are remnant trees that got smoked with fire over the years. But just a simple walk through can tell you, okay, south facing slope, woodland here in the Ozark Mountains, we need a lot more sunlight, and we have a lot of trees. So there's a lot of trees that had to die. And understanding that when you do TSI, the purpose, whatever your goals are, try to meet those. If the goal is more sunlight to the forest floor, you have to understand trees have to die. Even trees that may make you cringe, if the goal is sunlight to the forest floor and a woodland restoration, some overstory trees that look healthy to you most likely will have to be thinned back to meet your goals. And that is a big issue that I see with many landowners with our consulting business, is not being comfortable killing trees. Even though they have goals set up, killing trees to grow more is a weird concept. If you have a lot of trees and you want more trees, you're going to have to cut back some of the trees or kill some of the trees so you can let new, young, healthier trees grow back. And hopefully that little walk through the timber right there showed you just how much thinning occurs on a woodland restoration with your mid-story trees or your remaining trees. There's a lot of death that just occurred, but the good news is there's going to be much more life respond and grow back that's much more beneficial and much healthier than these trees that have grown in this really unmanaged landscape the last 30 years.